Flintstones, meet the Flintstones. They're the modern Stone Age family. From the town of Bedrock, Homer's about to hit a chestnut tree. Hey guys, Steve-O here from Movies and TVs on the Ball. And with me as always, my PIC.
Jay.
And we are talking about the 1994, so it's been about 32 years, of the Flintstones that came out came out with John Goodman and Rick Moranis from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and Rosie O'Donnell, who was an interesting choice for Betty. Jay, and of course Kyle MacLachlan. Is that who he is?
Yeah, Dale Cooper in Twin Peaks.
Dale Cooper, and he was also in Dune as
Paul
the villain.
Atreides. No, he wasn't the villain.
He wasn't the villain. No, he's the villain in this movie.
Oh yes, in this film.
Yeah, he was Paul Atreides in Dune, and then you had Dan Folk, who, if you know from Law and Order SVU, he plays Mr. Slates.
Right.
So, Jay, what was your relationship with the Flintstones as, I guess, a cartoon?
You know, just always growing up and seeing on, reruns on Cartoon Network and Boomerang. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of went and watched the first episode and did a kind of review of it. And this movie, and I kind of knew, it was the Flintstones and the Jetsons. And there's that theory that there's like a apocalyptic war or something, and like they went back in time on Earth, and the Jetsons are living up in the clouds.
Right.
Which is a pretty interesting theory, but we're here to talk about the 1994 Flintstones film, directed by Tom. I think it's this. Directed by Brian Levitt, who is best known for directing films such as, he's a writer on Happy Days, but he's directed directed a lot of kids films. He's directed Problem Child 2, Beethoven, Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Snow Dogs, and he also directed the sequel or the prequel, Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas.
Gotcha.
He's also was the writer to the Leave It to Beaver show, and I guess this film came out when a lot of these '60s films kind of got '90ized reboot, because you had also Beverly Hillbillies, Leave It to Beaver with Shooter McGavin, and who plays the dad, and the Brady Bunch movie. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I remember the Brady Bunch movie. It was a great one.
Yeah. And so there was a lot of nostalgia for the 60s, which is kind of ironic because now we're having nostalgia for the 80s.
Right.
So this film also starred John Goodman, who I think is perfectly cast as Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
And then Rick Moranis is who you know from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and is coming back out of retirement for Spaceballs 2 as Barney Rubble, and I think he plays Barney Rubble pretty well.
I agree. Yeah.
Then you had Elizabeth Perkins, who you probably know from. She's best known for her roles. She was in Big. She was the girlfriend in Big. She was in Miracle. Oh, she was in Miracle on 34th Street, the remake.
Okay.
And she was Coral in Finding Nemo.
Gotcha.
So she plays Wilma. I think everybody's cast perfectly, except for Rosie O'Donnell. Do you think she was a good Betty?
Oh, I thought so.
I liked her. I think her look comparing her look to the way Rosie O'Donnell. But I think a lot of people got a lot of fan cast. Were kind of mad that they kind of were like, why did they cast Rosie O'Donnell? Because she's got the laugh.
Yeah, I thought her like voice acting
was good. Yeah, and then you had Dan Fulk, who a lot of people probably know as Captain Cragen in Law and Order SVU. He plays Mr. Slate, and then so you've got a pretty strong cast.
Right.
But the plot, but I really kind of, it was kind of interesting because I think what was really cool about the film is just the world that they.
Yeah, they did a great job of like bringing the cartoon, world into like sort of the live action.
Live action form. And right. So what was your kind of first thoughts when you saw it the first time as a kid?
I remember, really liking it as a kid. Just sort of like how well it brought the cartoons to life. And it had, all the sort of puns and like the, dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs, like I like I think Jurassic Park came out in 93. This came out in 94. And I think when Jurassic Park, because they're both Universal.
Right.
When Jurassic Park, I think they had the trailer for this movie in front of Jurassic Park, and then I think they made a reference to it as the playground called Jurassic Park. So that was the thing. I remember this movie had a lot of tie-ins. There was a Super Nintendo tie-in. There was a lot of toys.
Gotcha.
McDonald's. They actually had McDonald's calling it Rockdonald's.
Right.
And I think you could get like cups or something with the toys and stuff. I mean, do you remember that?
I don't remember that, but
I mean, I guess I watched a guy talk about how like he went through the Flintstones kind of movie, because I think the criticism it got was because it had so many writers on this movie,
right?
That the writing of the film, but the fact that it was so kind of got a generic storyline, was sort of the thing that really made it not work. I mean, could have been a little bit better for a Flintstones movie,
right?
But let's kind of go. So the story pretty much is there's Fred Flintstone is sort of living in the is living in a modern Stone Age family. They have an aptitude. There's a villain. There's Cliff Vanderbeek, who's like the vice president, who's trying to get ahead and become like, getting Mr. Slate's money.
Yeah.
So he comes up with an aptitude test to make everybody.
He's trying to find a fall guy
for his scam. And I didn't realize it was a scam until I watched this the first time, or understood it more now, watching it now. And what I liked about, and so he basically uses Fred Flintstone to do a test. And I remember I was watching the Nostalgia Critic do a review, and he says, "Oh yes, I remember when my boss at my old job gave me a test to become president of the company, the vice president of the company." But I thought that was kind of cool. So he says that there's going to be an aptitude test given for one of you to crawl from the primordial ooze and be somebody. And so Barney and Fred take the test. Barney does really well. Fred is struggling, and so because there's a whole adoption, because Barney, because Fred gave the money to Barney to adopt Bam Bam, he basically uses it, and Fred ends up getting into sort of the whole Cliff's inner circle, and ends up doing, and that's kind of the story. So it's a really kind of generic bad guy, good guy story. When you cross it all out.
Right.
But what was it? I feel like this film it just kind of felt like it was just story-wise. It just sort of. What was your thoughts on the story?
Yeah, the story is not that great, but I did
No.
the casting and like the props
Props
was
and like
great.
the Dick the Bird,
Right.
who I think was sort of voiced by the Gazoo,
Right,
the
the
original
great
Gazoo,
Gazoo.
by the great Gazoo.
Right.
And I thought that was kind of cool. And he's like, he's like he when Fred is winning, or when Fred becomes CEO or co-CEO, he's like, take a bubble, Cliff. Let's play golf. We can prioritize and contextualize, tenderize. And he falls back and he finds out the bird
Right.
is doing a voice, is doing the thing. And I like the bird. I think the bird is the comic thing. There's a great line where he's walking past. So in the plot, he ends up like the climax of the plot. Cliff Vanderbeek basically kidnaps their Pebbles and Bam Bam,
Right.
and so they try to sort out a
hostage
thing, and he's walking past. It's like, this would never happen in Disney.
Oh right.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. The props. I think I think that was the problem. Is that it was just so. You had, I think.
They probably spent like a whole lot trying to make it like marketable to everyone.
Yeah,
so
and
not,
I think that's the thing, because like you've got, I think it's kind of cool to see kind of the Flintstones on the big screen.
No, I agree. Yeah.
And that was kind of, I think, the gag of it. And I thought Cliff or Kyle MacLachlan, I think is his name, played a pretty schemy
Right.
villain. Then you had Halle Berry as Sharon Stone,
Right.
which is kind of a real like, I wonder if they were like, just call her Sharon Stone. That's just fun, because the actress Sharon Stone, Basic
Right.
Instinct came out in '92. There's something to do with that. She's sort of the femme fatale,
Right.
and tries to but also the villain's kind of handy girl, kind of,
Yeah, like partner in crime.
partner in
Yeah.
crime. And I love how when when we introduce Cliff, he's like, and I believe you have I can see us on Rocco Poco getting Cliff's or Mr. Slate's fortune, and and she smokes a cigarette, and it's very cartoonish because she smokes like she blows out
money
a puff of
sign?
smoke, a money sign.
Right.
And I really, and so there's sort of that. I feel like the plot just goes over kids' heads for this movie. I mean, we're watching it now in our 30s.
Right.
We kind of go, okay, we understand it, but I was kind of like, ooh, the cool dinosaur. Like, what was your kind of your take on it, like the dinosaur wise?
Oh, I loved like all the dinosaurs, especially how all their appliances being like animals and stuff is always just fun to see. And like with live action, either like some of the like CGI is a little bit dated, but all their like puppetry and
well, that
animatronics
dino,
are good.
when you see the dino in sort of real life, or like when it moves, because like Fred comes home and says, Wilma, I'm home, and Dino shows up, and you can kind of see where it looks digital, and it's
Right.
94, so like the digitalness is kind of there, but it's
Right.
like, I mean, it's for the time.
Yeah.
But then he's like, he gets on him, and I really liked, and I think that was kind of the thing, that it looked pretty good for what it is.
Especially all their costumes.
And I mean, Jurassic Park just came out a year before, so the costumes look good. They really put time. If they put more time and effort into the script than the scenery, it would have probably been, a better movie. But as for me, I kind of feel like it worked really well. And then you had Elizabeth Taylor, who is probably best known for, you know, Cleopatra and a lot of movies from the 60s. She plays Elliot. No. She plays Wilma's mom, and I really like how she comes into the story, and she's like, she comes in the story and she's like, Fred comes in and he wakes everybody up, and she's like, look at him, drunk as a drunkosaurus, and
Right.
and I like how she says, what? While he, bells out, because the storyline is pretty much because Fred gives Barney some money, she's like, or most of their savings,
Right.
She's kind of like, my son-in-law is just nothing to me.
Right. Until he
And-
gets this
What?
executive job, and then
Yeah.
she like immediately does a 180.
Yeah. But she said, but I do like the line where she says, you could have married Elliot Firestone,
Yeah.
the man who invented the wheel. Instead, you married Fred Flintstone, the man who invented the excuse. And I thought that worked pretty good. E.G. Daily, the voice of Tommy Pickles,
Okay.
was the voice, who's a girl, but I mean, who best known for doing a lot of voice acting, did the voice of Bam Bam.
Gotcha. Okay.
So did you kind of tell that she sounded a little bit like Tommy Pickles?
I didn't catch that.
I
No,
catched it a little
okay.
bit. And so I really like the bowling stuff. I mean,
Right.
where they go to the bowling alley, and I like how the fact that they go to, when they're bowling with the kind of
Against the Neanderthals. Yeah.
kind of against the Neanderthals, and I thought that
Right.
was kind of a nice, like, real life caveman kind of thing.
Right.
Jay, and then I love the line where he says, "All right, brother Flintstone, we need a strike to win. Can you do it?" He's like, he's the Earth's flat, and
He does like his from the cartoon, the twinkle
twinkle
toes.
and
Right. Yeah.
and then they wear the water buffalo
Right. Hats.
hats, and there's like this scene where they're drinking Java juice, and I guess it's probably beer or like
Right.
some sort of like bedrock alcohol or something, and they stick their head in there. But then the plot, and then they stick their head and they go, "This is better than this," and I like that stuff in the film. And then the story kind of goes into sort of this corporate greed kind of thing.
Right.
What do you think of the story in that sense? Do you feel like, because I feel like there's sort of two parts in this movie. There's sort of the first half of it being sort of seeing the Flintstones and kind of that excitement, that whole seeing the world and
Right.
building the characters, and then you had sort of the whole like
Corporate espionage. Corporate, scheme
and
right.
stuff. And I feel like, okay, we need a plot to kind of get it to go. And I think like they had, let's see, I think. So they had about three credited writers, but I think they had like dozens of drafts.
Okay.
And I kind of figure, like, if you went through that many drafts and you came up with this so generic, kind of not generic, but so paint by numbers script, it just sort of doesn't. I feel like you could have gotten better if you had a little bit for what they gave you. What was
Right.
what's your take on the whole? Did you feel like it watching do your nostalgic? Do you feel like it worked pretty good? I mean, to me, I feel like it's as someone who as a kid, I would say it's a good matinee film.
Right.
But now, because I watch a lot of different movies and kind of listen to a lot more critics, I'm a little bit more critical about this movie,
Okay.
and I just was wondering, do you feel the same way, or
I mean,
how do you feel?
I enjoyed it just sort of watching it, try to catch all the dumb rock puns.
Yeah,
and
like
just
the
seeing all
BC-52s,
right.
Cavern on the Green, and I like how like it looked like, and I didn't realize this until I watched it with you. Was the Cavern on the Green looked a lot like a Stonehenge.
Right.
I liked the there's a scene where Bam Bam breaks a bunch of china,
Right.
and he's got to go through the they go through a credit card. They try to run a credit card, and she's like, Mr. Rubble, Mrs. Rubble, there's something to be a problem with your credit card. And she's like, what's that? It's no damn good.
And just
then
smash it.
And then he actually played in Viva Rock Vegas, the sequel, prequel thing that came out in like 11 years later in 2000. He plays he played Doyle in Mask.
Okay.
Remember, he's like, oh, the bumbling cop. I don't know if you remember him a little bit. Vaguely. But he says, I have strictly found I am purposely poisoning all the water supplies. Then the dinosaurs will be gone. And they're like,
that's what. Okay, I got the plot of the sequel in this movie mixed up.
Okay, yeah. So the sequel was kind of
the poison. Okay,
that was sort of the thing that he was trying to do, but he's in it. I like that. I really like the I think it works. I do like Kyle MacLachlan or is it Kyle? Is it who was the
Dale Cooper?
Dale Cooper. Cliff Vandercave. Kyle MacLachlan, and I like him. I think he plays a really sleazy businessman really well.
Yeah.
Like I think he does, especially like when he sort of he shows when he gives him the bonus.
Right.
He says, if you're going to be an executive, you're going to need to look like one.
Right.
And he's but he's got a charm to him that's kind of skeezy charm a little bit.
Right.
I mean, Halle Berry's there for eye candy if you think about it, but
I thought she also played really well.
Well, I do think I think she's got the look like the Bond lady kind of look, and then ironically, she was a Bond lady in Die Another Day, but she does have a lot of personality to her. Like I liked how she was sort of like when she first meets him is like, how would you like your coffee?
In a cup.
In a cup. He's like, bold choice, Mr. Flintstone. You'll go far in here. And then like there is that scene where Wilma shows up and she tries to be really pretty and
right, because she's trying to get Fred to sign something without looking at it.
So, yeah. And I really liked. I think this movie works really good, really well with as a kids film. Do you? I really liked the character, like the cat. I think the cast works. John Goodman is dead on for Fred Flintstone.
Right.
I think he really brings it, and he's trying. He's not half-assing it.
Right.
What do you think of Rick Moranis as Barney?
I pretty much liked all the cast.
Yeah.
I can't think of any of the cast I didn't like.
Yeah, I think they brought something to it. But yeah, this movie was. I think as a kids movie, it works really well. There was a lot of tie-in stuff. There was a Super Nintendo game. I remember McDonald's was called Rock Donald's for 3 weeks. There was like a toy, like little toys that came out. I remember Toast, because Post Fruity Pebbles, which is another Flintstones kind of brand. they had like if you buy 3 boxes of Post Fruity Pebbles or Cocoa Pebbles, you get like tickets for the movie.
Okay, I don't
That
remember.
or there was something to do with
right.
that. I liked how I did like how when they opened it with it was kind of cool to see the
Like
dun, dun,
like some of the famous scenes from the cartoon played out in
cartoons.
real
Yeah,
life.
yeah. But I think I think it works. I think this movie works really well. I mean, works really good. It's done really. As a kids movie, I can say I really like this movie. I do,
Right.
but I think that the film, as critically, do you feel like it's? I just feel like it's plot wise, it's very generic.
There's some, yeah. It's like not a good movie, and like but it's a fun movie. Like,
It's a fun movie, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good matinee film,
Right.
and I think that's what I like about it. And there's some charm to it. I think, and I think a lot of, these this movie would really work. I think nowadays they would probably give it a little bit more, fandom to it. No, not fandom, but people would probably do something with it. But it also could be, studio interference.
Right.
Those so many writers that they had, they
Right.
can't really come up with like a solid, script. But like, this was probably, and I mean, this was probably around the time. Because I remember they were talking about like when Pebbles and Bam Bam got married and like it was like a TV special and stuff like that. But
Right.
what was your thought? Like, I guess, what was your take on it now looking at it? Do you feel like or what was your take? Let's look at it as, what's your take on it looking at it now versus, or if you saw this, like if I said, what was your thoughts on the Flintstones? If you haven't seen it in 30 years, did you, like as a kid, how would you kind of look at it?
I mean, I guess it's just sort of, I don't know if I'd say magical, but it's sort of cool to see just the cartoon sort of brought to life.
Yeah.
And especially with their art style not going like hyper realistic, and it still sort of like was closer to the cartoon, made it cool.
Yeah, and the fact we got to see like the cars,
Right.
and like the mammoth that was the
Their shower and their
shower
sink.
and the sink, and then I liked the the Dino looked really good. Dino looked interesting because he would come in. There was like CG 94 CG, which was right around. Dino looked pretty interesting. From coming in from CGI far away to puppetry
Right.
at the beginning, and then Pebbles was a little bit kind of like, she was just kind of there.
Right.
I felt like Bam Bam was more of the. I like how they brought Bam, the origin of Bam Bam, where Bam Bam they go to the adoption agency, and Bam Bam has been raised by wild mastodons,
Right.
and so they go, "What's his name?" Bam Bam. Is that short for something? Bam Bam, Bam Bam, Bam Bam, and so I like how Rosie they take him and like hose him off because he looked like a caveman, and I like the fact that they played a song called "Dance with the Caveman" or something, and we see him, getting like a bowl cut,
Right.
and
When did Weird Al come out with his? Was it the Bedrock? What was his? He was making fun of it, like it's like yabba 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 do now.
I think. Hold on.
Was that? I'm guessing that was like around this time.
Well,
too.
remember, Bedrock Anthem came out in 93.
That was his year. Okay.
So
Well,
this was, but if you remember his, that CD that was on there, 93 was right around Jurassic Park.
right.
So the CD that he had looked like a Jurassic Park thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like this would be I really feel like this would be a good double feature with Jurassic Park.
Right.
in a way, because I feel like I mean, you take the kids to see Flintstone, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds to see Flintstones, and then 7 to 13-year-olds,
Uh-huh.
that. So, Jay, the Flintstones got a, let's see, according to Rotten Tomato, it got a 23% on Rotten Tomato.
I feel like that's too harsh.
5.1 out of 10
Okay.
on IMDb, but the popcorn meter got also 25%.
That's still pretty low.
That's pretty low. Jay, how would you on our ratings between A to B? You got to look at it two ways, because I think we're 90s kids.
Right.
Looking at it through your, like, let's say if I said, okay, if you're 10 years old, how would you look? If putting your mind back as a 10-year-old, do you feel?
I mean, I would say, I don't know. I'd say almost a B- or C+. I would, just sort of comparing to the movie we just saw, Battleship. I would rate this over Battleship.
Battleship, yeah.
What about you?
Okay, we're rating it over Battleship. I would probably say B+. I think if I was 8, like 8, kind of because in that family city range, I would probably say I would give it a B. Family, at an 8-year-old's way of looking at it. But now looking at it critically, on my 1 to 100 scale, I'll give it 78.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean 77, 78,
Yeah.
maybe kind of not. It's a family fun film, but I think it's just, there's so much stuff in that script that they could have really added more to it. It was just so like, here's Fred Flintstone, here's the bad guy. Bad guy has a scheme, and I think the thing is like, when you looked at films like this film came out, saying a year before, it was sort of that 60s boom of television nostalgia.
Right.
And I think a lot of them was always about like a rich businessman who wants to con the Beverly Hillbillies. It's the Brady Bunch, but it's a guy that's trying to be the Brady Bunch movie, which is a really good movie, because one thing is, he says, this is a carjacking. He says, this is a car, but my name's not Jack, it's Greg, and her name's Marsh. Like like Brady Bunch, the Brady Bunch movie really plays with it, and I think it's a good movie. And I think what really makes this work, or saves it, if you will, I think John Goodman gives it his all as Fred Flintstone, and he brings it. And if you really want to know, I really feel like if you look at Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas, Stephen Baldwin does a better Barney than Rick Moranis does. I feel like,
okay.
I feel like he brings the hey, kind of that same characteristics.
Yeah.
And I think it's the guy that played him in the guy that played Fred played him, but like he didn't bring the joy. And I think what I did like about John Goodman is he's giving it his all.
Right.
And I think John Goodman brings
he's sort of like the perfect cast.
Perfect casting for it. And I think he saves it from not being such a, it's kind of
like, if this is the same plot, like not as good of a casting, wouldn't be memorable.
No, it wouldn't. Yeah. No, it wouldn't. And I think that Fred Flint's, I think the cast works. Now, they had Jane Kwasowski. I'm kind of going into, because Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas, which we'll review, But let's just review that too, I guess, since we're talking Flintstones. They really got Betty right as well. Do you think Rosie O'Donnell played a good?
I thought so. Yeah.
I thought she did too, but I think the look. I think a lot of people thought the look was going to be, I think
I guess that doesn't really bother me at all.
But cast people. I mean, I don't mind it. I really think that this one did really good. I don't think it made enough money. I think they kind of were like, oh, we got these sets, so let's make Viva Rock Vegas.
Gotcha.
But I'll have to say that Flintstones, I like this movie. I mean, from a nostalgia point, yes, it's a good movie. Critically, it's not a great movie. So that's our look at the Flintstones. I guess we'll probably cover Legend of Zorro if you're getting this now, or maybe Happy Gilmore 2.
Right.
But thank you guys for listening and watching. And if you're fans of the Flintstones movie, let me know. And if you're not a fan, let me know as well. As always, keep the comments clean as possible. And yabba dabba doo. Peace. I'm Steve. And with me as always,
Jay.
And see you at the movies. Bye.